Welcome back to today's daily devotional. I'm glad you could be with us. Here we go. David believed that with God, he could accomplish anything, overcome anything, because he knew that the battle belongs to the Lord. If I've said it once, I will say it 1,000,000 times. I strongly believe that the way we live our life is a consequence of the size of our God. The problem many of us have is our God is too small. We're not fully convinced that we're absolutely safe in His hands. We're not fully convinced that our all-powerful, all-knowing, ever-present God can really handle the trials and the struggles of our life. So as a result, we live our lives in a constant state of fear and anxiety because everything in our life depends on us. Our job, our family, our relationships, our income, our future. No wonder we're so freaked out. Our God isn't big enough to handle anything we face, so we gut it out, we power up to try to make it through. And then we wonder, is there a better way to do life than this? The answer is yes. Believe that God is able. Pray for the faith to trust God and release the control of your life over to Him. He's the one who set every star in the sky and named them by name. He's the one who knit you together in your mother's womb. He's the one who holds the seas and formed the mountains. He is able. David goes to the king, says, I'll take him on. Now, Saul tried to dress David in his own coat of armor. After all, he's not going to be using it, right? But Saul's armor is too big. It doesn't fit David. So David took off the armor and he grabbed 5 smooth stones from a nearby stream and he headed out for the battlefield. Now, if you and I are going to defeat the giants in our life, number 1, we must place our confidence in God and not in ourselves. David said in Psalm 121, verse 2, "My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth." David understood who was in charge. David understood that he was created for this purpose of God. It wasn't for his ambition or his dreams, not for his goals, but for God's ambition, God's dreams, and God's goals. He headed toward that battlefield with a keen awareness that God was with him. God had placed His power inside of him. Friends, we can do all things through Christ who gives us strength, and nothing is impossible with God. Number 2, if we're going to defeat the giant, we've got to move toward the giant. David ran out on that battlefield. Friends, today's the day that the fear ends. Today's the day we stop making excuses. Today's the day that addiction loses its power over you. Today's the day you move forward in faith and stop being paralyzed by indecision. It ends today. As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly toward the battle line to meet him. David ran into battle. When there's a difficult task ahead of us, many times we'll just want to put it off and delay the inevitable. We put off moving forward. We put off making the decision. Too many of us are just standing around paralyzed when deep in your gut, you know what you need to do. You just need to take the first step and start doing it. Don't stand around analyzing it forever. The longer you wait, the more intimidating the task will look. Today's the day the Lord's made. Today is the day the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I will rejoice and get after it. Today's the day to get on the budget. Today's the day to change that attitude. Today's the day to actually start reading that Bible. Today's the day to start a family devotional. Today's the day to ask a friend for accountability and for help. Today's the day to pray like you've never prayed before. Come on, fill in the blank. Today's the day to do what? Come on, write it down in the comments below. Today's the day for you to do what? I'll wait for you. Today's the day for you to do what? Write it in. Today's the day for you to do what? If we're going to defeat the giants, there's one more thing we've got to do. You got to finish the job. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and he struck the Philistine on the forehead. And the stone sank in his forehead and he fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck down the Philistine and he killed him. David ran and stood over him. He took hold of the Philistine's sword and drew it from the scabbard. And he killed him. He cut off his head with the sword. And when the Philistines saw that their hero was dead, they turned and they ran. On that day, David became a rock star and showed everyone how to get ahead. Come on, that was hilarious. Where's the smiley faces? Give me some smiley faces right now. Don't quit until the job is done. This isn't some one and done deal like the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs, if they ever make the playoffs. We have to be finishers. Jesus is our example, isn't he? Jesus went all the way to the cross for you. Not part of the way, not half of the way. He went all the way. And he wants you to do the same thing. He wants you to finish strong. So take him by the hand and trust him like you've never trusted him before. And together you will defeat the giants in your life. The same God who parted the Red Sea can prepare a path for your dreams. The same God who shut the mouths of lions can shut the mouths of the critics who say it can't be done. The same God who protected Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from the fiery furnace can and will protect you. The same God who defeated the giant Goliath can defeat the giant of sin and addiction that you're facing today. The battle belongs to the Lord. I'll see you tomorrow.